Hi, good morning. My name is Jim Rapond with Coldwell Banker Danforth, and this is Seattle Real Estate Chat. I'm joined today with my co-host, Rhonda Porter. Rhonda, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Jim. I'd love to. I'm Rhonda Porter, and I'm a licensed loan officer at Mortgage Master Service Corporation, and I'm the author of The Mortgage Porter.
And today is our first edition or episode for 2015. It's January 13th right now, and it depends on when you're watching this. You may be watching it live, or you may be watching a replay on YouTube later. But being the first episode of the year, we wanted to talk about things that are happening and predictions for 2015, and kind of just analyze where the market is now a little bit, as well as talk about some of the changes in conforming loan rates. There's some important information there. Rhonda, you want to start off about talking about that?
Sure. So with the new year, we wound up with new loan limits, which is nice because the last couple of years they kind of remained the same and in some areas reduced. So for 2015, the conforming loan limits as well as loan limits for FHA loans and for VA loans were increased. So in the Seattle area, FHA and conforming loan limits are going to be the same, or are the same now. So for a single unit family, the loan limits raised from $506,000 to $517,500, and then if it's a duplex, it'll be $662,500, $800,800 for a triplex, and I cannot speak this morning, I need more coffee, $995,200 for a fourplex. So that's great news to see the conforming high balance and the FHA loan limits increased. The VA loan limit, and VA it doesn't really have a loan limit, but the limit for having zero down financing for VA is $517,500. VA jumbo loans can go up significantly higher. The veteran just has minimum down, so a little bit more down payment with that. So I'm very excited about this, especially for the FHA loan limits, because a buyer in the Seattle area with where prices are, this will allow more first-time home buyers, although you don't have to be a first-time home buyer for FHA, to have a chance to buy in Seattle with a loan limit of $517,500 with a minimum down payment.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, a 517 home in Seattle will get you a good starter home. You won't be stuck with some fixer-upper that's got a million things that need to be done to it, if you're careful and if you're a little flexible. So now to get all those numbers, you spat them out real quickly.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. That's normal, and it may be tough for people to hear all that. So I was just going to suggest, folks, if you didn't catch those numbers, go to Rhonda's blog. I know she has that stuff posted. It's mortgageporter.com, and she'll have all of those numbers posted. So if you didn't catch them all, you don't have to sit and rewind 10 times to try to get, do that.
Down at the foot of my website, so down at the very bottom, I have links to all the loan limits down there.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
for Washington State.
Super. And back to the FHA, because I think that's maybe the one that is like the most exciting for first-time home buyers. Along with that, there's some new news about some discount points being changed.
Yes. Well, I mean, this is great news, because over the past couple of years, FHA has kind of become priced out of the market a bit, because they were trying to build up their funds, their insurance funds, and they did that by raising the mortgage insurance premiums, and they became so expensive that it really encouraged a lot of other home buyers to use conventional unless they had some other reason to use FHA, such as people who have had short sales or bankruptcies often look for, or foreclosures often look to do FHA because there's a shorter wait period. It's only a 3-year wait period. And then there might be other reasons why people elect for FHA too. It has a lower down payment requirement. But the exciting change, though, is that just last week it was announced by HUD and by President Obama, and HUD confirmed it last week with a mortgagee letter, that they're going to reduce the amount of the FHA mortgage insurance on a 30-year loan by 50 basis points. And so this is significant. And so to put this in a more working number, or something that makes more sense, more relevant, is that on a $400,000 loan amount, the mortgage insurance premium is going to be reduced by $167 a month. So it's a significant savings, and especially when you are looking at like the higher loan amounts, or somebody that's just going in with the minimum FHA down payment, it really makes FHA more of an option again that's worth considering, and a little bit more of a contender once again with conforming mortgages. So it just gives buyers more options.
And that falls more in line with the private mortgage insurance you'd find on any conventional loan, right?
Um, yeah. At that down payment, it is closer to that. The upfront mortgage insurance with FHA is still there. That was not reduced, but that is typically financed in with a loan as well. So it's definitely something where it's worth for consumers to compare both and see which one makes sense for them.
And it still now goes with the life of the loan. It never falls off once you
Right.
reach an 80% LTV or anything like that, right?
Right, and so that's one reason to really look at conventional or conforming mortgages if you can qualify for that. So
Right. But there's
that
nothing to
will
stop you from refinancing once you get to that
right.
point where you've got that equity in there, right?
Exactly. Yeah, so like I have clients that have had short sales or foreclosures, and so they're just planning on, once they're at that 4-year or 7-year wait period time when they can refinance to conventional, but, they're only planning on keeping that FHA mortgage for a short period. It's a stepping stone to get into their house, to buy a house.
Sure.
So, and then they'll refinance to conforming when they can.
So that's fantastic, and I want to encourage people to, if they've been sitting on the fence and they've been thinking about, well, FHA is going to still be kind of pricey, take another look, because now is the opportunity. Who knows how long that'll last? I have a
Right.
feeling that that was maybe a political move, but I'm glad they made it. So anyway,
Right.
let's move on to the other topic I wanted to cover, and we could spend a lot of time on this, but we'll just keep it short because that's what we do here. Wanted to talk about trends for 2015 rather than talking about the history of 2014. And there was a good bit of both appreciation but also inventory issues in the Seattle area in terms of just a lack of properties to choose from. It looks like because of our very solid, steady growth, people all over are predicting that we're going to have a pretty strong bull market here. So I went around and I collected some articles. Let's see if I can screen share them here. It's sometimes a little tough to do that, but I think I can. Let's see here. Here's one that, oops, did that show up?
No, I see a black screen on my end.
Black
There we go.
screens. I hate those
You're back.
black screens. Well,
Yeah.
that's not what I was looking for. How's that?
There you go.
Okay. All right. So this is a truly a blog, and as you know, they may be gobbled up by Zillow soon. They're still working that out. But they did a hottest 10 markets for 2015 watch list. And while we just made the 10th one, there were these other cities, which I can't really zoom in on here, I don't think. Let me see. Is there any way I can zoom in on this? No, I don't. Wait a minute. Hang on. No, that's not going to work, is it? Sorry, everybody. There, that's a little bit closer. So here
Yeah.
they are. They're really kind of spread out. Usually you see these just on the East Coast and just on the West Coast, but we do have some in the center too, Nashville, Salt Lake City, and Dallas. So that's cool. But Seattle was number 10 on these, and they had some pretty good reasons for listing Seattle too. But the main things have been what we've known all along, that the companies that are hiring are bringing in high-paying jobs. Starbucks, Microsoft, Amazon, UPS. I would add to that Google, Costco. There are a number of them that are now starting to pop up too. You're starting to see Facebook and other high-tech companies bring in offices here, even if it's not their head office.
I hear Dropbox
So
is coming too.
Dropbox is another one, right?
Yeah.
So let's see. There was some other good articles here. This one was an interesting one. It was done in the Seattle PI, market predictions, and they were talking about how we've had a pretty high, it was up to 9.7% increase in values just in this last year, but that's set to continue up. And then this one was an interesting one in the Times, and I hadn't really thought about this much lately. I did a while ago, but I hadn't really thought about it in the last 6 months or a year very much, is this whole pent-up demand from millennials. As you know, we've got just a huge number of people in that 20 to 35-year-old price or age bracket that really sat out of the market, partly because they just happened to become of age financially during the worst economic recession we'd had in decades. So, many of them very smartly just sat out of the market completely and said, you know what, real estate's not a good investment. But this has changed as these people have gotten older, like almost in every American generation over time does. They start to have families, they settle down, they look around and they're making good money and they're looking at what's the best investment, long-term investment that I can control. That is an asset that I would want to utilize, not just be stuck on in a bank somewhere or a vault. And real estate's always at the top of that list. So all of those people trying to enter the market at this time, or the ones that do want to, are competing, and they are often the same people that those companies we were talking about are hiring. So you're going to see, well, and they also have a lot of similar tastes. I don't know if you can see this zoomed in loft picture here, but that's you see a lot of demand for that kind of either townhome or loft contemporary style home, and it's because there's so many buyers in it.
Well, and I read that article actually when that came out, and the one thing too that struck me too is that a lot of them are deciding to buy now because of where their rents are at in Seattle and what they're getting for rent compared to what they can buy.
Right, yeah, that came out December 30th, but you're right. There was another one that talked about rents jumping. Here it is, with Zillow. Talks about how rents have jumped 21% in 5 years, and that in itself is sparking a home buying binge. And I think a lot of that's due to when the renters who have been in the same place for a while get these shocking notices from their landlords that their rents are going up 15 and 25% or whatever, and they're going, yikes, that much I could afford to buy. And you know what? They're right, because interest rates are so low, they could buy. And so you have those people pouring into the market. So, while we have seen a lot of increases, this makes me think that we've got a long ways yet to go. Another factor that has been playing into the market and started to be noticed by the media is the Chinese market. And it's not just Chinese, but Chinese and Singapore and Southeast Asian emerging economies that have had a buildup of wealth among some individuals are looking to spend that money in places where they feel that it's a safe investment. And I was shocked to find out there's something like a little over half, I think it's close to 60% of Chinese hope to, what do they call it, repatriate or unpatriate, meaning that when they retire, they're hoping to move to a foreign country like Australia, maybe Hawaii, or Vancouver or Seattle, and that's a huge amount. We don't have that kind of situation here, and we don't have people in America going, gee, I want to go spend my money in some third world country. I mean, there's very few people who do that. You get some people wanting to move down to Mexico if they really like that warm beach weather, whatever, but not that many. And of the ones who can afford it, it seems like they want to make it more of maybe a second home destination, but not a primary retirement community. So, but that's not true here. We see a lot of people moving here, planning to be here permanently, and maybe visit home once a year or so. So, anyway, those are the things that showed up. Have you had any thoughts or any opinions on where the market seems to be going?
Well, I can tell you that right now, rates are back down to extremely low levels again. I mean, we've been at low rates for quite a while, but and I posted rates on my blog yesterday, and I don't think we're that far off from them today, but they're back down to lows from like a year and a half, 2 years ago, where we're at historic lows again. So. So it does like kind of fuel, or give more incentive for people to look at, getting ready to buy a home. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think we are probably not at the top for sure, and probably somewhere in the middle of this bull run. Demand is still very, very high. We have a lot of buyers that are looking for properties and having a difficult time finding. There just is not that much inventory. So you are starting to see, though, in this last week or so, more properties coming on the market. Sellers going, okay, property values are at a point now where I think I can afford to sell my home and make some money, and I think I'll take advantage and do it. I have a couple listings coming on, and I know a bunch of agents that have several listings that they have sellers who have been waiting for the beginning of the year to come to market. So I think that'll open up, and I think it'll open up even more as we see some of the completions of these condos this next year. I think that's maybe the one surprise of 2015 is that by mid-year, we'll start to see enough inventory into condos that there'll be more competition there, and buyers will have more choices. Maybe not in that central core part of downtown where you're having there's such an impact by Amazon and demand right down there, but in other areas, even just outside of downtown, I think that's going to open up. So. Anyway, so it looks like it might be a good year for real estate for everybody involved, from investors to first-time buyers to real estate brokers and mortgage professionals as well. So.
Good news.
So that's about it for this first episode. I just wanted to kind of touch base with everybody about the market and see if people have any questions about where things are going. I know we have a home buyer seminar coming up, right?
We do. We do. It is on, you're going to ask me what date, aren't you?
Well, yeah, it was. I mean, I know I have it here somewhere if you don't.
I'm going to say it's on the 21st. Here, one second, I'm checking my phone. And it's at Lake Forest Park Library. It's either 21st or 24th. 24th. Okay. So it's January 24th. It starts at 11 at the Lake Forest Park Library, and it typically runs to about 4 o'clock. And it's sponsored by the Washington State Housing Finance Commission. We serve lunch there. Typically it's a pizza or something along those lines. And students will be eligible for down payment assistance programs or reduced mortgage insurance programs with minimum down payments, and also mortgage credit certificates, which helps reduce their payments through tax credits. So it's a really class, and on top of that, you learn from Jim and I all about the home buying process.
Yeah, you really do get a pretty good, solid background knowledge of everything that's involved, so you don't have to wonder, am I missing something if you're going through the process. So yeah, so it's a lot of fun, and they do fill up. So I think if you're watching live, you'll be able to see I guess it's right down here, a place to click for that January 24th seminar. But we also have one coming up, I believe, in February or something. But this one here, for sure, we know we've got some available seats. So if you can, click on there if you want to come, and we hope to see you there.
That's right. That'd be great.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining us this time, and we'll be back in a couple weeks with another Seattle Real Estate Chat. Send us any questions you have. You can hashtag us at Seattle RE Chat, or email us or call us or text us, whatever. And thanks again, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
That's right. Take care. Have a great 2015.
Okay. See you soon, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.